Hi children, let's start with the first topic. We have already seen a few examples in the previous class, and here we are just revising the rules that we studied in the last class. The first rule, if we are rounding off a number to the nearest tens, we have only one zero in 10, so we have to see only one digit from the right end, and we have to check whether that number is above 5 or equal to 5 or it is less than 5. That is, we can divide the numbers into two parts, the numbers that are less than 5 and the numbers that are equal to or above 5. If the number is less than 5, then we have to consider or round off that number to 0. In the other case, we have to round off that number to nearest, round off the number to the 10. In this case, 7 is above 5, so we have to round it off to 10, and that 10 gets added so that it becomes 75,850. In the next case, 100, we have two zeros in 100, so we have to check two digits from the right end. And here in this case it is 47. 47 is less than 50, so we have to make it as 0. So the answer becomes 75,800. The same thing we have to apply in the coming steps also, because we have to see how many zeros are there in the place to which we have to round off. If it is 10, only 1 0, so we have to see only one digit from right end. In 100, we have two zeros, so we have to see two digits. So what about thousands? It has three zeros. We have to see three digits from the right end. And we have to check whether the number is above 500 or below 500. In this case, 847, it is above 500, so we are making it as 1000, and the answer is 76,000. The same technique you have to apply in all the higher round off procedures also. Let's do some examples. This is the first question. They have not mentioned to which place you have to round off. So we can make our own decision, and I am going to round off this to nearest hundreds. 730 becomes 700. Why? Because 30 is less than 50. So it should be rounded off to 0. Why I checked two digits from right end? Because I am going to round off this number 730 to nearest hundreds, and two zeros are there in hundreds. That's why I took two digits. 998. Here 98 is above 50, so we have to round off it to 100, and that 100 gets added to 900, it becomes 1000, and the sum is 1700. Now try out this 796. Here 96 is above 50, so it becomes 800, and 14 is less than 50, so that can be eliminated, so it becomes 300, and the difference is 500. Let's see another question. Here this question has two parts. You have to find the sum of these numbers by first rounding off to the nearest hundreds, then calculate the same by rounding off to the nearest tens. In the first case, these numbers can be rounded off to 400, 300, 4300, because the rightmost digits are 39 in the first case and it is less than 50, so it becomes 400. The second case, it is 34, that is also less than 50, so it is also 300. Then the next one, 17, which is less than 50, so it is also rounded off to 0, so it is 4300, and 4000 is the sum. Let's do the same by rounding off to nearest tens. In 10, we have 1 0, so we have to see only one digit from right, and the first number 439, the rightmost digit is 9, which is above 5, so you have to round it off to 10, and that 10 gets added, so it becomes 440. When you apply the remaining the same rule on the remaining numbers, we can reach the solution 5090. When we analyze these two answers, we can see that in the second case, when we had rounded the number to nearest tens, we got a closer estimate of the result. And in this case, it is not that close. So, it is the situation and the demand, we have to choose an option whether we want a closer estimate or not. If we want a closer estimate, we have to go for round off to nearest tens. Otherwise, we can go for higher places also. Let's see another example. This is a product, and you have to round off these two nearest hundreds and calculate the product. 578, we have to see two digits from the right, and it is 78, which is above 50, so we have to find it as 600. And 161, which is also 61 is also above 50, so that becomes 200. And when we find the product, we have two zeros in each, 600 and 200. So in the product, we should have four zeros. This is how we make the calculation or the product also in an easy way. We won't get the actual result, but we will be making our calculation faster. When we are not dealing with the actual results, we can go for estimation. Using brackets. In this chapter, you have no examples, no exercises from this session, but you have to understand how to operate the brackets or what is the use of brackets. Let's take the same situation example that is given in your textbook. Two sisters, Suman and Sama, they purchased notebooks of the same type. Suman purchased 6 notebooks, whereas Sama purchased 7 notebooks. And we have to calculate the total amount that should be paid. Is there any other way to solve this? Yes, because two sisters purchased notebooks of the same type, we can first calculate the total number of books, that is 6 plus 7, 13, and then go for multiplication. That will also give us the same result. How to express it? In this case, we have to use the brackets. That means 6 and 7 that must be added together before multiplying. That is the indication that brackets give us here. But if you are asked to open the brackets and apply the operation, product operation, how to operate it? You have to open the bracket in this way. 10 must be multiplied with 6 and 10 must be multiplied to 7. Then these two must be added. Then also we will get the same result. And this is how we are operating a bracket. When we open a bracket, we have to distribute the operation. Product must be distributed to 6 and 7. We are not supposed to take only 10 into 6 and then 7 must be added. It's not like that. You have to apply this operation 10 into 6 as well as 10 into 7. Then take the sum. And we get this answer. The next important topic and the last topic of this chapter is Roman numerals. The symbols that we use on our daily life is from this number system, that is Arabic or Hindu numeral system. The symbols are 0 to 9. And in Roman numerals, we are all using the Roman numerals. When we indicate our class, we write these symbols, right? 6 and 7, everything we are writing. But there are certain rules that govern the formation of Roman numerals. Let's see the rules. Okay, these are examples and let's meet the rules one by one. Rule number 1. we can repeat the symbols. 1, this for X is for 10 and C for 100. These can be repeated, but it cannot be repeated more than 3 times in succession. That is, in these cases you can see these symbols are repeated. This is I and it stands for 1. That is repeated 2 times means it is 2. 3 times means it is 3. And this symbol X, it is 10. When it repeats 2 times, it is 20. When it is repeated 3 times, it is 30. The same case C stands for 100, and when it is repeated 2 times, it is 100 plus 100, 200. When it is repeated 3 times, it is 300. One important point is that the symbols V, L and D cannot be repeated. We are not supposed to repeat these in any of these numbers. When we form Roman numerals, we can repeat I, X and C. We cannot repeat 5 and this for 50 and this for 500. These are not repeated. Now let's see rule number 2. When a digit of lower value is written after a digit of higher value. The first example, this V stands for 5 and I stands for 1. 1 is written after 5 and 1 is of a lower value. So what to do? You have to simply add that. That is 5 plus 1, it is 6. The same case here also. In all these cases, you can see the values given towards the right of this are added and we get the result. Okay. Then comes rule number 3. This is how we represent 4. 5 minus 1, 4. And 9. Then 40. Then 14. And here we can apply, we have to apply a combination of rule number 2 and rule number 3. Rule number 2 says that whatever comes towards right of a higher value should be added. But if we go and apply that rule alone, we won't get 14. Here 10 is of higher value, 1 is of lower value. We know we should add them together. But after that, here comes a higher value after 1. That is lower value, then again a higher value. Then you have to use the bracket. That is, first you subtract 1 from this 5, then add that with that 10. So that we get 14. Here we can see combination of rule number 2 and 3. Higher digit, then a lower digit, then again a higher digit. Then we have to apply the rule number 2 and 3 together to reach the answer. Here also you can see that. See, 10, 10. Okay, they are of the same value. So we can add them. But after that comes 1, then again comes 10. In that case, subtract 1 from that 10, then add it. Okay. So this is how we are finding the equivalent Hindu or Arabic number from the numerals, Roman numerals. Now let's have some questions to practice. The first one is 13 and we know 10 is represented by X and 3 is represented by 3 I's. So the answer is X, I, I. The next one 14. 10 is represented by X and 4 is represented by I and 5. So this is it. Then 18. Then 26. Then 39 and the remaining you can see.